Take two.
You're on.
Good?
We
Okay,
hope
we'll
so.
go back to the beginning. Good afternoon and welcome to the regularly scheduled December 2017 meeting of the Finance Committee. First up behind tab 2 are the meeting minutes from the November 7th, 2017 meeting of the Finance Committee. Can I please get a motion to approve those meeting minutes?
So moved.
Thank you. Second, Charlie, do you second that?
I can second that.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the meeting minutes are adopted. I'd like to now move that we go into executive session to discuss the financial history of a particular corporation. Can I please have a motion?
So moved.
Second, thank you. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? None, so we will go into executive session. Thank you. We are out of executive session, and I note that no action was taken in executive session other than to return to the public session. That said, the Finance Committee will be reviewing 4 resolutions today. First up, behind tab 5, is the Hospital for Special Surgery, and Gerard will present. And I note that I think the Gerard, I thought we had a majority of them. We're pretty close there, Gerard. There are 3 Gerards in the room right now.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, that's true.
Mr. Chairman, staff report provided to the members is seeking authorization for a resolution to proceed for the Hospital for Special. This will be a publicly offered or privately placed 30-year bond issue in an amount not to exceed $160 million on behalf of the Hospital for Special Surgery. The Hospital for Special Surgery is a financially sound hospital which provides a wide range of orthopedic and rheumatology-related inpatient, ambulatory, and ancillary services, primarily to residents of the New York City's 5 boroughs and the surrounding suburban counties of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. The hospital is committed to both basic and clinical research as a component of the overall hospital mission, and it is critical to the hospital maintaining and enhancing its standing as an internationally recognized and premier hospital in the fields of orthopedics and rheumatology. The financing that you are considering today will advance refund the DASNY issued Hospital for Special Surgery FHA insured Mortgage Hospital Revenue Bonds Series 2009 in the amount of $71.895 million. In addition, the Hospital for Special Surgery Ginnie Mae Taxable Revenue Bonds Series 2011 and 2015 in the respective amounts of $32.37 million and $39.12 million will be refunded. The hospital is planning to exit the FHA program and eliminate the restricted requirements. The hospital's strong financial performance should allow the hospital to issue unenhanced debt. The proposed restructuring will produce level debt service. Although a 30-year amortization is being requested, there have been no conclusions regarding final debt structure and the Department of Health with the Department of Health or Tax Council. Staff will report back to the board once structuring has been clarified and agreed to by DOH. Security. The proposed bonds will be secured by a pledge of hospital revenues and mortgages on certain real property if required. Some financial highlights include operating gains in the last 5 years averaging $59.1 million and an operating margin of 4.54% in 2016. Other items worth noting include 189 days cash on hand, which is far above the regional and DASNY medians. The hospital has demonstrated strong financial results, including solid liquidity and strong debt service coverage, quality services, and a favorable mix of third-party payers. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Gerard. Questions?
Just a comment, if I may. The Hospital for Special Surgery, obviously a specialty hospital, and very much well respected, and I think you'll see from the fiscals pretty well managed financially. The performance has been very well, and as noted, compared to the DASNY portfolio for hospitals, it's well above the median. We believe that a restructuring of existing debt would give the facility an opportunity to improve its debt service picture, and while we have not agreed to the exact terms with the facility, we do expect to get there before adoption documents. So the department is in favor of moving forward with a resolution to proceed.
Thank you very much.
I'm strongly in favor of this resolution, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, it's a very fine institution.
Strong.
Serves as many New Yorkers. So, any other questions or concerns? Hearing none, can I get a motion to recommend approval of this offering at tomorrow's?
I can so move.
Sure.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any opposed? None. Hearing none. The motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Next up, we go to tab 6, which is the Montefiore Medical Center, located in the great borough of the Bronx. And that's, who's going to present that? Gerard, and he's going to be joined by Craig.
Tomorrow?
Craig will be here tomorrow. He's
gonna be okay?
He's
And
in
he's in
Albany.
Albany now.
at the
Oh, okay.
moment.
Thank you.
Craig, would you raise your hand so I know where you are? Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, the staff report provided to the members is seeking authorization for a resolution to proceed for the Montefiore Medical Center. This will be a publicly offered or privately placed bond issue in an amount not to exceed $640 million and a term not to exceed 30 years on behalf of the Montefiore Medical Center. The bonds might be issued in one or more series as tax exempt and or taxable in a fixed and or variable rate mode. The hospital's primary service area is the Bronx and southern Westchester County, where the hospital holds a 34% market share. The hospital's occupancy rate has been consistently high and was 89.55% in 2016, far above the regional and DASNY medians. The financing that you are considering this morning will be a current refunding of the DASNY-issued Montefiore Medical Center FHA-insured mortgage hospital revenue bonds, Series 2008, in the amount of $64.965 million. In addition, the Montefiore Medical Center Ginnie Mae collateralized taxable revenue bonds, Series 2011, 2016A, and 2016B, in the amounts of $73.05 million and $226.7 million. In addition to the refinancing of $233 million of debt related to affiliate hospitals will be refunded. The hospital is planning to exit the FHA program and eliminate the restricted requirements. The hospital's financial performance may allow the hospital to issue unenhanced debt. The proposed restructuring will produce level debt service. Although a 30-year amortization is being requested, there have been no conclusions regarding final debt structure with the Department of Health or Tax Council. Staff will report back to the board once structuring has been clarified and agreed to by DOH. Security provisions. An obligation issued under the Master Trust indenture will be secured by a pledge of the medical center's gross receipts, a debt service reserve fund if required by investors, a mortgage on the medical center facilities if required by investors. Some financial highlights include the medical center has been profitable in each of the past 5 years with an operating gain of $105 million in 2013 and $18 million in 2016. Other items worth noting include 74 days cash on hand, which is far above the regional median and in line with the DASNY median, and a debt service ratio of 2.09. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Charlie, any questions or comments?
Yeah, a few comments. Thank you. So, Montefiore Medical Center is essentially the flagship of the Montefiore Health System, which includes a rather extensive array of hospital and acute care and primary care providers in the community. In fact, Montefiore Medical Center is probably the first hospital to aggressively establish a community healthcare network throughout the Bronx and into Westchester. And really has been a strong and reliable partner for the Department of Health with respect to targeting the community health care needs and addressing them in some unique and innovative manners, not the least of which has been entering into at-risk agreements with insurers, value-based payment systems for pricing of care in the hospital and the community with insurers, and has really kind of set the standard for the DSRIP, the Delivery System Reform Incentive Program that the department is now in the third year of operationalizing statewide, trying to reduce the cost of care while improving the quality of that care wherever possible, in a community environment, a community setting that is close to where the patients live. It has been the model for that care, and as it has expanded with affiliations with hospitals in the lower Hudson Valley, has expanded its base of operations from the Bronx well into the Hudson Valley, and that expansion has served to not only improve the service to the populations of the lower Hudson Valley, but also to help to stabilize that healthcare network within that geographic area. So while this specifically is the proposed refinancing of Montefiore Medical Center's debt, I thought it would be helpful to give the larger perspective of the role that Montefiore Medical Center plays with healthcare in this region.
Thank you, Jim.
Charlie, thank you for that. Mr. Chairman, I have some familiarity with the Montefiore system in the Bronx. My wife worked there for a number of years. Finished a residency. I finished a specialty practice there. They are extraordinary in the Bronx, and they're run in a way that is efficient is not quite the right word. They're actually better. They're better than. They're very efficient.
How are they doing on that capitated payment program?
I don't know the answer to that. It's a good question. Charlie?
Yeah, I'm not an expert on it, but my understanding is that it is performing very well from a fiscal perspective as well as a quality metric perspective.
Probably the future of medicine.
Organized medicine.
Yes, right.
They serve, as the credit summary points out, that their patient population comes fairly close to 500,000 people.
Yeah.
It's a phenomenal system.
And they serve some economically depressed communities as well. And
They do,
well,
yeah, they do.
which we can never lose sight of, especially given some of other. So anyway, can we get a motion to approve this, or you have any other questions or concerns?
None here.
Thank you. Second.
Charlie.
I can make that motion.
Favor aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Hearing none. Any opposed? None.
None.
That motion carries. Thank you very much.
And Mr. Chairman, just as a housekeeping matter, I would note that the staff report reflects a current funding of MCFFA 2008 bonds. They're really DASNY bonds. We have a black-lined version of the report, which we'll have on the table tomorrow.
Thank you very much, Bush.
They were MCFFA bonds that
The report
that
reflect.
became. Yeah.
No, they are DASNY bonds,
I see.
but our report incorrectly reflects
Oh, I
the
see.
MCFA.
Okay.
So it's just a black lining, taking the MCFA out, putting the DASNY in. They are DASNY bonds.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up, tab 7, Maimonides Medical Center. By the way, were we supposed to hear from, we don't need to hear from Greg, we were just there for questions, right? Before? Okay. That's Andy. He's also joined by Peter.
Good afternoon. The Finance Committee is being asked to recommend that the full board adopt a resolution to proceed in an amount not to exceed $225 million for Maimonides Medical Center. The medical center provides a comprehensive array of acute care inpatient services to the residents of southern Brooklyn and tertiary care inpatient service to the entire borough of Brooklyn and surrounding metropolitan area. Proposed financing includes the refinancing of various obligations of the medical center and a small new money component. The bonds will be issued with a maximum term of 30 years, which is subject to Department of Health Tax Council approval, and the bonds will be issued as tax-exempt and/or taxable fixed and/or variable rate bonds issued at one or more times to be sold through a negotiated sale and/or a private placement. Proceeds from the proposed bond issue will be used to refinance the Maimonides Medical Center Ginnie Mae Collateralized Taxable Revenue Bond, Series 2013. They'll also refinance various capital leases, many of which have front-loaded debt service. The financing also includes the refinancing of a construction loan and a line of credit that was used to fund minor repairs, upgrade furnishings, and medical equipment throughout the hospital. And the new money component will consist of the construction of an additional operating room and the renovation of the CT ICU and the repair of various facilities, including the parking garage. The medical center would like to create corporate-wide level debt service to the extent possible, which could include the extension of final maturities of the debt refinance. However, there has been no conclusion regarding the debt structure and final maturity with the Department of Health and Tax Council. Staff will report to the DASNY board regarding the debt structure once discussions with the Department of Health have concluded and prior to any further action by the DASNY board. The security for the transaction will consist of an obligation issued under a master trust indenture, which will be secured by a pledge of the medical center's gross receipts. There could also be a debt service reserve fund and a mortgage on the medical center's core hospital facilities if required by investors. The bonds are expected to be rated in the BBB category. The medical center is planning to exit the FHA program, which would enable it to free up collateral, reduce costs, and eliminate restrictive requirements. The proposed bond issue will bring the medical center back into the authority's healthcare portfolio. The medical center has always met its obligations to the authority on time and in full. In 2015, the medical center entered into a 3-year clinical affiliation and collaboration agreement with Northwell Health to assist the medical center in expanding its clinical footprint and improving the medical center's financial condition. The goal of this affiliation is for Northwell Health to eventually become the sole member and/or parent of the medical center, at which time the medical center will be fully integrated into and will function as a Brooklyn hub of Northwell Health. Although achievement of this goal is not certain, the medical center is currently in discussions with Northwell to extend this agreement. The medical center offers several nationally recognized and accredited centers of excellence, including a heart and vascular center, an outpatient breast center, a cancer center, and a stroke center. The medical center's inpatient activity has been relatively stable over the past 5-year period. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Any questions, or can we hear from Charlie?
Yeah, just a few comments. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Maimonides Medical Center has really been a gem with respect to hospitals in Brooklyn. As has been has been pretty well known that many of the Brooklyn institutions have struggled. Maimonides Medical Center has been a well-respected, quality community provider. It is a key safety net provider. It has been, we call that an essential community provider. Really, without Maimonides being as well run as it is, the department would have even a larger challenge in Brooklyn, and it's already a pretty large challenge. But we think Maimonides is well positioned to take the next step, which would be a potential restructuring of its long-term debt to move closer to a formal integration with the Northwell Health System. Department is very much in favor of strengthening the relationship that Maimonides has with Northwell, and it does make sense to be able to move from an historical financing plan to one that positions it more from a structural debt perspective, more positively for future growth. I do note that there is some new money in this financing, and we still need to engage the facility on any necessary prior approvals that need to come through the department. But we do recognize that this financing is an important financing for Maimonides, and we would recommend an approval.
Thank you.
Thanks, Charlie.
And Northwell, as reported in the report, is aware of this potential refinancing and opportunity.
Yes.
That's true.
Andy, would you do me the favor for the record of explaining your debt service coverage paragraph and the fluctuations in Maimonides' debt service coverage? You were kind enough to answer the question for me previously, but I think the record would actually appreciate knowing the answer.
Sure. As I had mentioned, Maimonides has a lot of capital leases that they've used to make improvements, and a lot of that debt is front loaded. And if you look at page 4 of the report, and you look in the middle of that table in there, you can see that the current portion of long-term debt in 2014 and 15 spiked significantly. It went from $31 million in 2013 to $90 million in 2014 and $78 million in 2015. Their goal really is to create corporate-wide overall level debt service. And by restructuring some of their capital leases and maybe some of their other debt, it'll create a much more level debt service structure that, one, will be looked at favorably by the rating agencies, and two, it will help them with additional future capital financings that they can then layer that debt on top of each other.
Thank you, Andy.
Does that answer your question now?
Does. It sure does. Thank you.
Any other questions or concerns? I can see a hospital in Brooklyn. Not causing too much concern. Anyway, can I get a motion to recommend approval of this resolution?
Make that motion.
Charlie.
Thank you. Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, that motion carries. Next up is a small financing from Cornell. That's going to be Dave's going to present. Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Finance Committee is being asked to recommend to the full board one or more series of tax-exempt and/or taxable fixed and/or variable rate bonds in an amount not to exceed $1.25 billion. Final maturities not to exceed 40 years on behalf of Cornell University. Bond proceeds will be used for new money, refunding, and refinancing purposes. Approximately $300 million will be used to finance the university's North Campus residential expansion, which will create up to 2,000 new undergraduate beds, together with supporting dining, parking, recreational, and other related infrastructure. Approximately $150 million will be used to finance deferred maintenance projects across the university system. The refunding portion would be about $716 million. This would include the refunding of DASNY's 1990B, 2008 B and C's, 2009 A's, and 2010 A's. And the refinancing component would take out portions of the university's tax-exempt commercial paper issued by DASNY and a portion of their taxable commercial paper. As far as structuring, while the staff report requests a final maturity of not to exceed 40 years, there have been no conclusion regarding the debt structure of the proposed new money and refundings. And staff will report to the members regarding the debt structure and any net present value savings prior to further action by the DASNY board. Cornell University is a strong credit that's issued over $2 billion going back to 1961 through DASNY. They're rated AA1 by Moody's and AA by S&P, both with a stable outlook. And accordingly, Cornell currently qualifies for an unsecured borrowing under DASNY's financing guidelines. A few credit highlights. Student demand and enrollment remains strong for the university's undergraduate and graduate programs. Undergraduate applications increased from 37,808 to 44,965 over the last 5 years, while total enrollment increased by 4.3%, reaching 23,388 for fall of 2016. During that time, Cornell has become increasingly selective, accepting only 14.1% of applications for fall of 2016. The university's revenue composition is extremely diverse. For fiscal year 2017, only 21% of revenues came from student-generated sources. And lastly, the balance sheet demonstrates strong and growing financial resources and solid liquidity. Unrestricted net assets increased by 13.5% over 5 years, reaching $3.1 billion in fiscal year 2017. And as of June 30th, 2017, the university reported total net assets of over $10 billion. Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much. Any questions?
I have no questions at all.
I'm just curious, because I'm not that familiar with the North Campus. Is it sort of adjacent to the main campus? Or is it miles away?
It's adjacent to the exit campus. It's just the northern section of the
I'm sure
campus.
it's sort of
It's not separated from
This
the
is sort
campus.
of a good, like an economic engine of that area, and I'm sure as a local, folks support the type of expansion. And thank you.
The great state of Ithaca. Yes, it was.
Okay. Can I get a motion to recommend approval at tomorrow's board meeting?
So moved.
Second?
Seconded?
Thank you. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? None opposed? That motion carries. I think that concludes it. Do you have any comments or anything? That concludes it, so I'll get a motion to adjourn.
So moved, sir.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. None opposed? We're good, thank you. Get you a gavel.